Today we're making two dishes, my version of Monggo and Lechon Kawali. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's an early day because we need to make early preparations, and by the time we're finished, we can have this ready for lunch. Okay, so let's start off with our Monggo. So for the Monggo, I have here two types of beans. So I have white beans and my Monggo. Okay, so I measure about half a cup of white beans. Not that much. Put it in one bowl. And then half a cup of the Monggo. So what you need to do is you need to soak this for about 3 to 4 hours. So in this case about 3 hours because we need to eat at around 12 o'clock. So later these will double in size. So you need to make sure that you use the right size bowl for this task. Okay, then we leave that. Next, let's prepare our Lechon Kawali. So we have here a kilo slice. As you can see, we've already washed it. You can put that in a big bowl. Then it's time to add our aromatics. Start off with ginger. So I brushed these already, cleaned them. You don't need to peel. You can make big slices like this. Just add them inside. Have another piece here. Then add some garlic. So you don't need to peel. You can just press on them to release those flavors. And dump those inside. And we have an onion, so you can slice this as well into quarters. I also just dumped that inside. Next, laurel leaves. Okay. Maybe put in about 4 big leaves in there. We also have star anise, so this is quite strong in flavor, so I only add two big ones. Last, let's put in peppercorns. About this much. Oh, at this point, we also need to salt. Okay. And then, I'll show you the bowl. We add in water, just enough to cover the pork. Okay. And then cover this up. Then we boil this for 1 hour. Okay, after simmering and all those herbs and spices, this is how your pork belly will look like. It's already taken all of those flavors in, and at this point what we need to do is to poke some holes on the skin using a fork. So like so. And the reason why we're doing this is that we will be salting this, and we want the salt to seep into the meat. It's a thick cut, and by poking these holes, you're going to help the salt go inside the meat. Okay, so we just do it on the skin side. Then get your salt. So add it liberally on the skin. Also turn your meat on the sides. Also put some salt on each of the sides. And also underneath. So don't forget the small side here. Okay, so the reason why we're salting the outer part of the pork is that it's a thick piece of meat, so the flavors won't easily go inside, right? And as you do this also, another thing that happens is that it dries out the outer part. And that's what's going to make it crispy outside and juicy inside. Okay? So this is already prepped. The next step is I already preheated my oven to 180. And we will bake this in the oven for 2 hours. And let's check first if that's enough time already. You will know if the skin is already dry, and that's the time when we take it out. So let's put it in the oven. Now let's chop our garlic, onions, and cherry tomatoes. Okay, that's good. So as usual, we put it on a plate. Just organize everything first before you cook. Next, let's chop the onions. So the technique that I usually use is chop it in half. So don't remove the root. And then remove the peel. Till you're left with this. Okay, now remove the tops like that. And you can discard those later. Okay, the reason why we didn't remove the roots is so they stick at the bottom like that. Okay, I'll show you the technique with this big onion here. So first, you slice it towards the root. Okay, you make 2 slices like this. And then if it's lined up like that already, you make your smaller slices here. Don't go all the way up to the root. Okay. Now that you have all of those slices ready, when you slice it down here, it's already in small pieces like that. See? So that saves you some time, right? So do the same for the rest. And last, for the cherry tomatoes, just slice them in half. Okay, we're done with the chopping. Now it's time to cook the monggo. Let's start off by heating a pot. So this has been preheated, and then I'll add in some olive oil. And we start by sauteing our onions. That's a bit too hot. Let's lower the heat. And let's add in our garlic. I also like to add in anchovies. So you can buy this from the grocery. I add in a half can. So these will melt. And you can also add in some of that oil. So just stir that in. Next, you add in your tomatoes. We can also start seasoning at this point, so you can add in your pepper. And your salt. So once those tomatoes have softened, I already drained the monggo and the white beans that we soaked earlier today. So these have been soaking for about 3 hours. Okay. And as you can see, if you compare it to how big they were when they started, they almost doubled in size already. So you also add them, you also saute these, so they can also get the flavor of the garlic, the onion, and the anchovy and the tomatoes. So just stir that in. So at this point, you can increase your heat. As you get to coat all of the beans that you placed in there. Okay. next step is I added about a liter of water. So it depends on you how thick you want your monggo to be. Some prefer it to be thicker, so you add less water. For me, I like it a bit soupy, so I add more water. So you let that boil. And at this point, I also like to add in spinach. What I use is frozen spinach. Okay, so I just add in the whole pack. As your monggo starts to boil, you can lower the heat, cover it, and allow that to simmer for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. So you have to check it if the beans are already soft, and that's the time you stop cooking it. So this is the pork belly. This is how it looks like after cooking it for 2 hours at 180 degrees Celsius, or that's around 360 Fahrenheit. So if it's dry like this, okay, what you do is I actually preheated some cooking oil, and just get your ladle and you can pour it on top. And the purpose of that is to, if you want to get the skin to pop. So just keep pouring. Okay, once you get that crackling on the skin, let's let it rest for a bit. Now after a few minutes of resting, this is our pork belly. Let's carve it up. What we do first is turn it bone side up. Let's remove the bones first so it's easier to slice. Okay. These should just come right off. Like that. Okay, then let's turn it skin side up. So as you can hear, that skin, it's going to be really crispy when you bite into it. Now let's slice it down the middle. So make sure you sharpen your knife for this. See? So what's nice about this technique is that the middle part is still juicy while the outer part is really crispy and dry. So that's what you want. Then let's slice these two pieces into smaller portions. So you can hear that crunch. Still hot, so it's really difficult to handle, but easy to slice because the meat is so tender. Okay. So there you go. That's our lechon kawali. For the last and my favorite part is we'll taste. So after cooking the monggo for 1 hour, I just adjusted the seasoning. I added some more pepper and salt. And I put it in a small bowl here along with the slices of lechon kawali. So let's taste. First, let's taste the monggo. So as mentioned earlier, I like it a bit soupy. Still hot. So really tasty when you added in that anchovy. Also, I like the texture of the monggo. It's not too soft. Okay, now let's taste the lechon kawali. Of course, what you look for here is the crunch of the skin. Really good. And we're done.